The EU has a system in place where industries, producers inside the EU have to pay for each ton of carbon, of CO2 that they emit. And the idea of this mechanism is that the same payment for each ton of emissions is imposed on goods that are imported into the EU to create a level playing field between domestic producers and imported within the EU's internal market.
Okay, it sounds straightforward enough. Why are some of the EU's trading partners, I'm thinking of countries like China, so upset about this?
It's obviously a trade measure in the sense that Chinese producers who have CO2 emissions associated with their production will face increased costs. And the Chinese side argues that they have their own climate policies in place, so they shouldn't face the costs of the EU's climate policies on top. However, if we compare the costs imposed by the EU's policies versus those in China, the EU policy is creates stronger incentives to reduce emissions. So in that sense, there is a case for leveling the playing field.
Do you think there are likely to be any political ramifications to this policy?
The EU is on a firm footing in the sense that international trade agreements allow countries to use trade policies that are based on the actual costs of their environmental policies. So in that sense, this should be a fairly straightforward case. What I hope is that the Chinese side can look forward along with the EU's other trading partners, and in fact see this as an opportunity for the cleaner producers in their countries to gain an edge and for this to help their own transition.
Do any similar carbon pricing practices exist anywhere else in the world? I mean, I guess they're set to become more common, aren't they?
The EU's carbon market is by far the most significant one if you look at both the coverage of emissions and the price on carbon. There are others. There are regional markets in North America. There are carbon markets in Australia and New Zealand. China has a kind of a carbon market for its power sector. More of these are being created, and overall, regardless of the kind of policy that you're using, whether it's a carbon market or another type of climate instrument, you do need good data on emissions. So that's a common challenge for all types of climate policies.